Khanapur Forest turns into a deadly trap during India's monsoon season with landslides and flash floods, not to mention the tigers and bears. The red forest near Chernobyl is so radioactive it killed the trees within hours, and it's still dangerous to stand in decades later. After Fukushima, parts of Japan's forests were labeled difficult to return zones, with radiation baked so deep into the soil that cleaning it up is next to impossible. These are creepy forests so dangerous they're illegal to enter. In India's Karnataka state, there's a forest near a place called Khanapur that's now blocked off every year during monsoon season. Entry is strictly forbidden, and that's because when it rains, the entire area turns into this dangerous mess. The trails get covered in slippery moss, rivers and waterfalls overflow, and the visibility gets so bad you could easily just fall and get swept away. On top of that, you have all the living dangers to worry about. Leopards, bears, and tigers, oh my. And things get more dangerous during the season because the animals get pushed into smaller areas thanks to flooding. What really pushed things over the edge was a group of guys who ignored the ban, hiked into the restricted zone, and posted videos of themselves online. Thankfully, they didn't die, but they were arrested. Since then, they've added more security here. They got checkposts now, forest staff patrolling the area, and they're turning people away every day. You don't get a slap on the wrist if you're caught. It is a criminal charge. The Red Forest is a no-go zone inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. When the Chernobyl disaster happened in 1986, this patch of forest got hit with this blast of radiation so strong it killed the trees almost instantly, and the pine needles turned red. That's of course where the name comes from. And the ground is still full of radioactive dust decades later. Unlike a lot of the forests on this list, the danger here is pretty much unavoidable. It's dangerous to your health just standing in it for too long. Imagine getting lost here. The Ukrainian government made it illegal to enter without special permission, and even then, you're not allowed to stay for very long. You need protective gear as well. There are patrols, checkpoints, and fences to keep people out. Tourists can visit parts of the exclusion zone on guided trips, but the Red Forest is off limits. It's so radioactive that even cleanup crews avoid it unless they absolutely have to go in. Animals have come back to the area, but that doesn't mean it's safe. There's not really a way to explain the dangers of radiation poisoning to wild boars and wolves. After the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, Japan set up a 20-kilometer exclusion zone around the Fukushima Daiichi plant. Some areas have reopened, but a portion are still off limits. They're known as the difficult to return zones. These are forests where radiation levels are still dangerously high. Just like the Red Forest in Ukraine, you can't get in without special permission. Don't know why you'd want to anyway, though. These forests cover about 70% of Fukushima Prefecture. Decontaminating them is pretty much impossible because of the way radiation particles cling to trees and soil, so the government decided not to bother with these areas, focusing on places people actually live in and work around. Even in zones where people have returned, foraging is still restricted. Wild plants and mushrooms often contain radiation levels that are well above safety limits. The radiation just seeps into the ground. Nongmaiching is a forest in northeast India that's technically off limits, if you're an outsider, that is. It's a protected area, and under Indian law, you're not supposed to build on it, live there, or do much of anything without permission. That hasn't stopped people from trying, though. Over the years, parts of the forest have been cleared out for farming. People have also tried to build homes here. Some of those clearings were done by setting fires on purpose. In 2023, police caught 4 guys hunting in the forest with firearms and flashlights. The forest department and police have had to do full-blown eviction drives, removing illegal setups and chasing people off the land. It's gotten tense a few times, so the government put a stop to casual visits. No camping, no picnics. Even if you're just looking to explore, you're not allowed in without official clearance. It's also a sacred place for some of the local communities, so there's pressure to keep people out for both environmental and cultural reasons. Sapo National Park is the biggest protected rainforest in Liberia, and while it's technically possible to visit, you need special permission, and even then, the government has restricted access a number of times over the years. The place is pretty dangerous if you're inexperienced. It's deep, it's isolated, and there are no marked trails. You're basically on your own here if you try to get in without clearance. People have tried though. In the early 2000s, there was this wave of illegal settlers who tried to move into the forest, and it took government troops and UN peacekeepers to get them out. There's also been poaching and illegal gold mining here. In 2023, over 3,000 illegal miners were removed from 24 camps in the park. But because of how wild and on track the forest is, just getting in is hard enough. Some sections have been sealed off completely, and wildlife authorities have even set up patrols to watch for people trying to sneak in. Technically, this forest is open to the public, but a lot of areas are closed off, and authorities strongly discourage going outside the designated trails. This is a very dense, quiet patch of woods sitting at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. Locals call it the Sea of Trees because it's so thick it's easy to get lost in just a few minutes. The ground is all hardened lava from an old eruption, and it absorbs sound, so when you're in there, it's dead silent. That silence is one of the things that makes this place feel so unsettling, and its dark reputation doesn't help either. For decades, people have been going into this forest never to come out again. For whatever reason, people take their own lives here. Signs are posted all over the place telling visitors to turn back or talk to someone if they're feeling overwhelmed. Authorities do regular sweeps, and there are even volunteer groups who go in and look for abandoned tents and missing people. That's how often this happens here. The forest is said to have this strange pull to it, beautiful on the outside, but with this unsettlingly heavy energy. Hoia Baciu Forest is said to be one of the strangest places in Romania. There have been stories about it for hundreds of years, people vanishing, hearing voices when no one's around, even getting rashes and nausea after spending time inside. One of the most famous spots is a circular clearing deep in the woods where no trees grow at all. The scientists have tested the soil and can't seem to find a clear reason why nothing survives there. The trees around the circle are all twisted in weird shapes too. And paranormal researchers who've spent the night have said their equipment will act up, batteries will die instantly, footage will come back distorted. The place is technically open to visitors, but parts have been closed off over the years, especially after fires or when people have gone missing. They've also restricted drone use, which is rare for a forest like this. If you ask anyone who's been, probably tell you once you're inside, the forest feels like it closes in on you, almost as if it doesn't want you to leave. There have been stories about Wychwood Forest in England being haunted since at least the 1600s. The most well-known story is about the ghost of Amy Robsart, the wife of Lord Robert Dudley, who was found dead at the bottom of a staircase in 1560. Her death was ruled an accident, but many believe she was pushed, possibly so Dudley could marry Queen Elizabeth I. People claim she appears suddenly in the forest, and if she speaks to you, you'll die shortly after. Others have seen a horse-drawn carriage racing through the trees or shadowy figures standing just off the trails. There have also been reports of people hearing their names whispered, sometimes by voices they recognize, except said person isn't actually with them. The forest is a conservation area today, but there are large portions of it that are protected and off-limits. Rangers have also reported people needing to be rescued or escorted out in a panic after getting lost, and some locals, especially the older ones, won't go near the place after dark. The Pine Barrens cover over 1 million acres in southern New Jersey. The deeper you go, the stranger it gets. Most people know the Pine Barrens because of the Jersey Devil, a winged, horned cryptid said to stalk the woods, but the real dangers are much more grounded. Massive wildfires break out here all the time, and a lot of them spread fast because the forest floor is packed with dry pine needles and sandy soil. We've also got abandoned towns hiding here, old iron and sawmill villages that were left behind in the 1800s. Sections of Brendan T. Burns State Forest, Wharton State Forest, and others have been sealed off temporarily because of illegal dumping and unexploded ordnance from old military training exercises. And people get lost here too. Rescue teams have found them disoriented, dehydrated, and in some cases telling stories about being followed, but not by animals, something else, something they couldn't quite explain. One guy said he kept hearing footsteps behind him, but every time he turned around, nothing was there, just trees. About 90 miles off the coast of Sao Paulo, Brazil, there's an island so dangerous it's completely off limits. It's crawling with golden lancehead vipers, a species that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Some estimates say there could be 1 snake per square meter. Their venom is so strong it can melt your flesh. You step wrong here and you don't get a second chance. These snakes are terrifying too. They're known to snatch up birds when they perch on the trees. The island used to have a lighthouse and a family living on it in the early 1900s, but story goes they didn't make it very long. After that, the place was fully abandoned. Now only a few government researchers and military personnel are allowed to go, and they have to follow very strict protocols, including bringing medical staff with them, of course. Biologists still study the snakes because their venom might be useful for new medicines, but aside from that, the island is completely sealed off. I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.